Ye Tian walks down the street casually, munching on some snacks, when he passes by the man. Suddenly, Ye Tian's spiritual pressure flares slightly, causing the old man to sweat nervously. He struggles to understand how someone like Ye Tian can already control spiritual energy, something typically only accessible to top-tier martial artists. Ye Tian calmly pulls up his hoodie, covering his face as he thinks to himself that having a martial spy stationed outside his place proves that the Lin family is paying far too much attention to him. Eventually, he reaches the martial market and quietly reflects on the Sun family. They have long practiced inbreeding across generations to preserve the purity of their swordsmanship talent, and any babies born with conditions like dementia or other disabilities were quietly eliminated in secret. This shows just how twisted the Sun family truly is. Ye Tian arrives at a store owned by the Sun family, where Mr. Sun is present, cheerfully announcing that to celebrate their grand opening, they're offering a 50% discount to all customers today. A gentleman steps forward to congratulate Mr. Sun and offers his blessings, wishing for the business to flourish. The people entering the store thank Mr. Sun warmly and share in the celebration. But then Ye Tian comes around the corner with a cold expression, and as he walks forward, his hand begins to spark with energy. Purple electricity crackles around his fingers and spreads outward, surrounding him with a fierce aura. He offers his own kind of congratulations, not for the store's opening, but for what he calls Mr. Sun's last day to live. Without hesitation, Ye Tian copies Mr. Sun's ability, and in that moment, his swordsmanship talent upgrades to the superior level. After absorbing Mr. Sun's ability, Ye Tian heads to the graveyard where his parents are buried. He brings a bouquet of flowers and sits quietly at their graves, speaking to them with a gentle tone. He tells them that he and his sister Ye Yu will soon be leaving the seaward base, and before departing, he wanted to visit them one last time to say goodbye. With a small smile, he adds that they would be proud of him if they could see how far he's come. Suddenly, he senses something rapidly approaching. In a flash, a figure appears, standing silently on a nearby tombstone. It's an assassin, clearly sent to kill him, and his killing intent fills the air. Ye Tian instantly reacts, summoning his blade and turning to meet the threat. The assassin lunges with his own weapon, and their blades clash in a shower of sparks. The assassin remarks that Ye Tian must really be something if he managed to defeat Sun Feng. Ye Tian, irritated, realizes who he's facing. It's one of the Sun family's lapdogs. He tells the man that he's been expecting him for some time. With a sharp parry, Ye Tian knocks him back. The assassin keeps talking, boasting that Ye Tian should be grateful for being allowed to live for a whole month when he could have been killed right after the tournament. Tired of the talk, Ye Tian tells him to shut up and save the nonsense, then dashes forward at high speed. Their weapons clash again, and sparks fly through the graveyard as their battle begins in full force. The number of slashes flying through the air is no joke as both fighters keep exchanging blow after blow, each clash more intense than the last. But in the middle of all this chaos, Ye Tian notices something that makes his expression darken. The bouquet he brought for his parents has been damaged. That alone is enough for him to push his opponent far away with a powerful strike. The lapdog stumbles back but keeps talking, revealing that he was Sun Feng's first teacher and that their bond was like that of a father and son. Ye Tian, unfazed by the emotional story, ignores him and calmly walks over to pick up the bouquet. He gently approaches his parents' grave, silent and steady, while the lapdog mocks him again, saying that since they're already in a graveyard, it's the perfect place to bury him. He even offers to dig the grave himself if Ye Tian kneels and begs for mercy. Still, Ye Tian says nothing and quietly places the bouquet beside the grave. But the lapdog crosses the line when he threatens to kill Ye Tian's sister, claiming she'll soon be joining him in hell. That's when something inside Ye Tian finally snaps. He stomps the ground, shattering it beneath him as anger pours from his eyes like a raging storm. Without a word, he activates his top-tier speed talent and vanishes from sight. In the blink of an eye, he reappears with a devastating kick straight into the lapdog's gut, sending him flying. Ye Tian doesn't stop there. He dashes forward, grabs the man midair by his hoodie, and hurls him toward a nearby mountain. The lapdog crashes violently, the impact kicking up dust and rocks as his body lies motionless, barely able to grip his weapon. He hears footsteps drawing closer, his blurred vision catching Ye Tian's figure approaching. In that moment, he finally understands that Ye Tian is already at the level of a grandmaster, though his pride still struggles to accept it. But none of it matters now, as his eyes close for the last time and his story ends right there. Ye Tian sits beside the lifeless body, his expression calm as he picks up the weapon known as Sword Veil, a rare swordsmanship manual hidden within the lapdog's blade. As he examines the weapon, he quickly notices that its stats far surpass those of the sword he had been using. Without hesitation, he switches them out, securing the stronger weapon for himself. Looking around, Ye Tian realizes that night has fallen, and the sky is already cloaked in darkness. Knowing he's stayed out too long, he quickly makes his way down the mountain, fully aware that if he's late again, he'll be facing a battle he can't win, his sister, waiting at home with questions and complaints that no sword can parry. Ye Tian returns to the city and encounters the old man again. who was sweeping the street. After passing by, Ye Tian stops, turns back, and asks if, since it's been over a month, he would like to come in for some tea. The old man removes his hat, smiles warmly, and agrees to join him. Later, at Captain Galewolf's home, Ye Tian and the old man enter the room. Ye Tian tells his sister Ye Yu that they have a guest and asks her to put on the kettle and prepare some tea. The captain stands and asks Ye Tian to properly introduce the guest, but before Ye Tian can speak, the old man introduces himself as Lin Zhe of the Lin family. The captain's jaw drops, and he asks for confirmation that this is truly the legendary Senior Lin. Linza smiles, saying it's flattering to hear. Ye Yu brings the tea but is met by the captain rushing over to take the cups from her hands so he can serve Lindsay himself. Ye Yu chuckles, amused by the captain's sudden politeness. The captain offers a cup of tea to Lin Zhe, who accepts, and then begins talking with Ye Tian, noting that for Ye Tian to invite him here, it must be about something very important. Ye Tian confirms this as he walks over to his sister and tells Lindsay to take Ye Yu to the penthouse and ask Ms. Ye Ling to look after her. Linza sips his tea, thinking to himself that he hadn't expected Ye Tian to have any connection to the penthouse. He notices the amulet Ye Yu is wearing, given to her by the captain, and recognizes it as a token of the penthouse. Linza sets his cup down and responds, promising to take Ye Yu to Ms. Yu. Ye Tian glances at the captain, considering how to repay him before leaving the seaward base. The captain jokes that it seems Lindsay didn't like the tea, so he'll make him a fresh cup. Meanwhile, Ye Tian introduces the captain to Lin Zhe, explaining that his name is Zhang Feng, a close and loyal friend of his who is brave and has great potential if he works for the Lin family. The captain is shocked to hear Zhang Feng will be working for the Lin family, finding it hard to believe. However, Lindsay agrees and tells Ye Tian that the Lin family is open to any outstanding person, and starting today, Zhang Feng will become his disciple. Ye Tian gently nudges Zhang Feng and tells him to meet his new master. Zhang Feng falls to his knees and bows deeply to Lin Zhe, thanking him for accepting him as a disciple. Lin Zhe tells him to get up, thinking to himself that doing these two small favors will help him build a good relationship with Ye Tian, which will be great for his family. Meanwhile, Ye Yu grows suspicious of Ye Tian and asks about his true goal, since he keeps asking others to look after her. Ye Tian replies that he has some things to handle, nothing serious. But Ye Yu, sharp as a knife, calls him out for lying and says it's more than just some stuff, and he can't hide it from her. Ye Tian nervously insists it really is just some things he needs to deal with and promises he'll join her as soon as it's done. In the meantime, Xiao Jin will protect her, the same cat who is living the best time of his life. Ye Yu finally gives up and says she understands that he won't listen, so she won't waste her time. She tells Ye Tian to stay safe and not take on things beyond his level. Ye Tian smiles and accepts her advice. Meanwhile, two guards stand outside a building, talking quietly to each other. They talk about how pointless it is to have guards outside the Sun Group at night, since no one has the guts to attack them. But this turns out to be a bad night for those two guards when Ye Tian appears from a distance and heads straight toward them. One guard tells Ye Tian to leave because he's not welcome here, but Ye Tian keeps coming, lightning crackling around him. In an instant, he thrusts both guards along with the door into the building. One guard, barely conscious, asks Ye Tian what he's doing there, and Ye Tian coolly replies that he's there to get rid of some garbage. Meanwhile, a scared henchman runs back to his boss, telling him someone has broken into the group and beaten up their men. The boss grins and says he thought only cowards filled the seaward base, but it seems someone with a death wish has finally shown up. A group of henchmen rush toward Ye Tian, ready to take him down, but Ye Tian quickly demonstrates his power by kicking one of them so hard that he crashes into the others, knocking them over like bowling pins. With lightning-fast speed, Ye Tian dashes forward and eliminates the remaining henchmen with such ease that they seem like nothing. Meanwhile, the boss begins to walk slowly toward him. As everyone else lies defeated, the room falls silent, with only the sound of the boss's footsteps echoing across the floor. The boss breaks the silence and asks Ye Tian for his name, impressed that someone dared to take out so many of his men. Ye Tian replies while holding one of the henchmen by the collar, pointing straight at the boss, making it clear he's next. The boss lets out a cold sigh and says Ye Tian has some nerve walking into his place, then gives a command for the elders to kill him. Suddenly, a group of people leap down from above and ambush Ye Tian. Just as Ye Tian pulls out his newly acquired knife, one elder uses a control talent to bind his hands behind his back, instantly immobilizing him. The others step forward and surround him. Now facing 5 elders, Ye Tian meets Scarface, Eye Patch, Redhead, Jason, and the 5th unnamed one. Scarface speaks up first, saying they had waited for days expecting a real threat, only to be disappointed that a boy was the one who dared to attack them. The elder who used his technique to bind Ye Tian speaks up, saying he has no interest in wasting energy on a commoner, but Ye Tian should feel honored to die inside his escape-proof net array. The boss thanks the elders for their efforts in capturing Ye Tian and tells them they can take anything of value from him as a reward. Suddenly, Scarface's expression changes as he notices the blade Ye Tian is holding and instantly recognizes it as belonging to the lapdog. He slaps Ye Tian across the face, grabs him by the hair, and demands to know what happened to Elder Qingho. He adds that Qingho was supposed to be with Mr. Sun Feng and demands to know what Ye Tian did to both of them. Annoyed by Ye Tian's silence, Scarface grabs him by the shirt and shouts at him to spill the truth, but Ye Tian simply chuckles and tells him to take a guess. Meanwhile, the boss orders one of his henchmen to head back to the store and find out where their young master has gone. Scarface then asks the boss how they should deal with Ye Tian, and the boss coldly replies that they should cut off his feet and throw him into the dungeon. Scarface grabs Ye Tian by the neck and orders him to move faster, but in an instant, Ye Tian breaks free from the Elder's ability and with lightning-fast speed, slashes Scarface's neck, killing him on the spot. As the remaining Elders and the boss witness Ye Tian's overwhelming strength, the boss quickly orders everyone to stay back, realizing Ye Tian is far stronger than they had imagined. The Elders leap backward, putting distance between themselves and Ye Tian. Eye Patch stares at him and sees the deadly aura surrounding Ye Tian forming into the shape of a demonic being. Without wasting a second, Ye Tian locks eyes on the boss, who now stands alone with no protection. Ye Tian charges at him, and though the boss powers up and lets out a beastly roar, it proves useless. Ye Tian lands a brutal punch straight into the boss's gut, forcing blood to burst from his mouth. He follows it up with a fierce kick to the face that sends the boss crashing into a wall. The wall shakes from the impact as the boss struggles to his feet, coughing blood, and realizing he can't face Ye Tian alone, he yells for the Elders to attack together. Jason is the first to respond, confident that his massive muscular frame can overpower Ye Tian. He locks hands with him, and the two begin pushing against each other, the pressure creating a crater beneath them as lightning crackles in every direction. Thinking Ye Tian is immobilized again, the Elder with the chain ability moves in for a sneak attack from behind, but Ye Tian senses his presence, and without wasting even a split second, kicks both Jason and the Elder in the face, sending them flying and shattering the Elder's teeth. Standing tall at the center, Ye Tian calmly tells the Elder that using the same trick twice won't work. However, the Elder proves to be cunning, having planted a trap under Ye Tian's feet, which suddenly locks him in place. This gives Eye Patch the perfect opening as she begins gathering the souls of the fallen henchmen and summons two vicious dark dragons. Despite his power, Ye Tian immediately senses that the spell is a serious threat. He breaks free from the trap and bolts, but the dragons are far faster than he expected and appear right in front of him. Caught off guard by their speed, Ye Tian stares in disbelief as one of the dragons opens its massive mouth and swallows him whole. The attack escalates into a devastating blast known as the Death Aura Explosion. Miss Yue watches the huge explosion in the distance, wondering who could be causing such chaos. Just then, her maid interrupts and tells her that Lin Zi from the Lin family has arrived to see her. Yueling asks what he wants this time and tells the maid to send him away, but the maid explains that he's here with Ye Tian's sister for some reason. This piques Yueling's curiosity. Meanwhile, Ye Yu and Linza wait somewhere as a lady offers them tea, and Lindsay thanks her politely. Back at the fight, as the smoke clears from the explosion, Ye Tian's body falls from the sky, crashing into the ground and creating a crater, looking lifeless. The Elder praises Eye Patch's ability, claiming that not even a Grandmaster could survive her Death Aura explosion. The boss appears, coughing, and thanks Eye Patch, which makes her grin arrogantly as she stands by the crater. The Elder asks the boss what to do next since Ye Tian is barely alive and badly wounded, and the boss orders them to kill him immediately. Suddenly, a blade flies through the air, stabbing the Elder near his heart and pinning him against the wall. Ye Tian regains consciousness, smiles, and uses healing magic to mend all his wounds while Eye Patch, Jason, and the boss watch in shock as the Elder's lifeless body swings against the wall. Everyone is shocked, unable to grasp what just happened. Then Jason realizes Ye Tian is still alive and warns the others, but before he can act, a hand strikes him, slamming his head into the ground hard enough to shatter his mask and kill him instantly. Ye Tian wastes no time, calling his knife back and swiftly slicing Eye Patch's neck clean through. As the Elders fall one by one, the boss collapses backward in fear. Desperate, he grabs his axe and launches one final attack at Ye Tian, but Ye Tian stands firm, and only a spray of blood appears before the boss's lifeless body hits the ground, blood dripping from Ye Tian's blade. At that moment, the young master of the Sun family, Mr. Sun Feng, appears around the corner, seeing his father's dead body and screaming out in shock, while Ye Tian turns, smirking as he locks eyes with him. Ye Tian looks at Mr. Sun Feng and says it's a good thing he showed up, because he can deal with him right now as well. He steps on his father's body while speaking, which makes Mr. Sun Feng lose his temper completely. Fueled by rage, Sun Feng lunges at Ye Tian, throwing a powerful punch, but Ye Tian effortlessly dodges it. Using his power talent, Ye Tian buffs himself and counters with a brutal punch to Sun Feng's gut, causing him to drop to his hands and tremble in pain. Sun Feng slams his hand on the ground in frustration, realizing Ye Tian is far stronger than him, almost like a monster. His fighting spirit breaks, and he apologizes to his father for being weak. Ye Tian grabs him by the hair, warning that if he's already given up,